with the horses. So in the truck, so hopefully it is not too loud to do this recording, but I wanted to just do something really quick. I don't think this will take very long. I think this will be kind of short, but I wanted to just let everyone know that since our last podcast, something I've done in my life is I've actually started seeing a sports psychologist for like mental coaching with the horses. You guys know, if you've tuned in here before, you know this channel is all about using your mind to do life the best possible and learning how our mind works, how to use it best, all the stuff and things regarding mental health. So, of course, I decided it was finally time to take my own advice and really be as the most competitive as possible doing the barrel racing with the horses. You know, I should look into getting some mental coaching. I have done a lot of work on my mind in the past, as if you follow this channel you probably know, related most specifically to like mindfulness and things like that, but I've never obviously worked specifically with a sports psychologist regarding like competing on the horses. And the reason I decided to kind of delve into that is because I feel like my anxiety when competing is actually getting worse with time. And that's a little perplexing to me because I've been doing this now and when I say doing this, I mean traveling, hauling the horses, competing at big barrel races, you know, against a lot of competitors, you know, really in the real competition type stuff. You know, I've been doing that now for a handful of years. I would say honestly, it was exactly 4 years ago. Exactly 4 years ago is when I went to my first, what they call a big super show. And that's when I really started traveling and really started stacking up against, you know, the best of the best and like real competition and real big competition venues and things like that. So I've been doing that for 4 years now. And I can't even count how many runs at these big races, and I've done this so many times now, and I would think that by now it would be a little bit easier to be confident and it would be a little less anxiety provoking. But I've actually been experiencing the opposite. It's actually like I have more anxiety now before these races and more anxiety before our individual runs. And for a little while I thought that's because I had, so about 2 years ago I had a couple bad falls with my one horse. We got into some trouble with some things and we really had to like go back to scratch and build back up, you know, from foundation to now. And so I thought like the fear, you know, the memory of that fall and that time of struggle was still like lingering with me, and it was really like messing with my confidence. And I'm sure that is definitely some of it, but that doesn't explain why I'm feeling more anxious on my other horse. So I was like, I think I just want to, you know, just see if talking to somebody would make a difference, see what they have to say, and go from there. And so I had my first session, or whatever you want to call it, this week actually. So I'm sure there's going to be more to come, because I'm sure I'm going to learn a lot in this process that is going to relate more to just competition and competing as an athlete, like as everything related to what we talk about on this channel. You know, the mental health stuff crosses over. Like what works in one arena probably works in another arena and probably works in another area of your life. So there's definitely life lessons in any and all of it. So I'm sure there's going to be more talks to come. I'll keep you posted about what I learned, but what I have discussed so far, which I think is very interesting, because like I said, part of the reason I wanted to do this is because I couldn't understand, why my anxiety was going up, with more reps, with more experience, with more time in the saddle, with more runs under my belt. Like, I've been there, done that at this point. So why is my confidence less and why is my anxiety more? Like, that doesn't seem right. So here's the interesting thing. And of course, I didn't realize any of this until after talking through it and thinking about it. But here's what I think has happened. And here's what my sports psychologist was highlighting. There's a difference between expectations and individual objectives or goal settings. And what is interesting is expectations directly correlates with our confidence and our belief in ourselves. Now, let me explain a little bit further. So for example, if you have an expectation, if I have an expectation to go to this race this weekend, and let's say my expectation is I want to win some money. If you know anything about barrel racing, we're not even going to get into that, but there's a lot of like luck of where you fall, and there's divisions, and it's anybody's game out there if you win money. I mean, you got to be good enough to be in the conversation, but winning money sometimes just means maybe you got lucky and maybe you fell into placing and that sort of thing. So you could go out there and you could have the best run you've ever made, and you might not win money. So let's just say your expectation is I want to go win money, and then you don't win any money. Now all of a sudden the standard or the bar that you've set for yourself is not met. And so even though your run was fantastic, for where you are in your journey and for where you can perform, even if your run was fantastic, now all of a sudden your brain thinks that you failed. And your brain says, you messed that up. You failed. You didn't meet your expectation. You didn't meet your standard. And now all of a sudden, our confidence starts to plummet. And now all of a sudden, our belief in our abilities and our belief in what we can do and our belief in what we've been doing, all of that starts to crumble around us. And the other interesting part of it is expectations are things that you cannot control in the real moment. And what I mean by that is, okay, let's say my expectation is, all right, so I've been struggling with my one horse, right? Like part of our struggle was her wanting to shoulder into the second barrel like years ago. That's part of our struggle. So if my expectation going into the race is, oh man, and by the way, expectations can be good or bad. They can be positive or negative expectations. Like I could have the expectation of, man, I really need this horse to get by this barrel today. Or I could say, man, I know we're going to struggle at the barrel. She always struggles at the barrel. Like we never get that barrel right. Either of those things, in reality, in the moment, I can't control. I cannot control what my horse does. Now, yes, you can prepare to the best of your ability. You can train to the best of your ability. You can do all the work at home to try to prepare that animal to respond to you the best of its ability. You can train yourself to try to cue that animal to the best of your ability. But so you can control the preparation part of it, but in that moment, when we're actually making a full speed run at a race, in that moment, I can't control what that horse does. All I can control is how I ride. That is all I can control. And so those expectations that I put when I say, oh man, I know she's going to struggle at that barrel. I know she's not going to listen to me at that barrel. Or when I say, man, I just need her to shape up at that barrel. I just need her to get around that barrel. When I say those things, I'm putting an expectation out there that I have no control over in the moment. So obviously, as we know, anxiety, worry, stress, it often revolves around lack of control. Like the things that we can't control give us a lot of anxiety because we know it's not within our control. And sometimes we try to make it in our control, which even gives us more anxiety. So I thought that was very interesting. And I think what, I kind of talked through with this coach is, what is probably happening is I'm probably putting expectations on these races that I was not putting on them in the past. Like when we first started really traveling to big competitions, I didn't have these expectations. I didn't think honestly, like I was like, we're just going to put ourselves out there. We're going to roll the dice. We're going to see what we get. Like, we might get laughed out the room. We might be so slow. It's going to be embarrassing. It's like, there were no expectations. I had no expectations. I just was going to try. My goal was just go out there and try and see what happens. Just ride your horse and see what happens. And now though, because we have, and so like that was a world where there was no expectations. Like it was just go ride your horse and you fall where you fall and you do it how you do and you experience what you experience. Like just get in the saddle and ride the horse. But now what has happened is because we have been doing it for 4 years now. We have had varying levels of success. We have won things. We have placed in places. We have raised the standard for ourselves. And now there's expectations involved because now it's like, no, now I know what we're capable of, and we've proven we can do it. And so now the expectation is we have to go out there and we have to keep doing it, and we have to do it again. We have to do it better. We have to replicate it. That in addition to, the more involved you get in something, the more invested you become in it. So like the first time hauling away from home to a big race, it's like, okay, let's just go. Let's roll the dice. Let's see what happens. Let's just try. But then it was semi-successful. So now it's like, okay, well now we're going to invest in this. Like we're going to keep going. We're going to keep doing it. We're going to spend more money, time, energy, effort. Like we're going to pour into this because we've proven to ourselves that we're potentially capable. And so now there's that effect too. Like now you've invested more of yourself into this thing. So with that comes the human tendency to put more expectations on it. It's like, oh, you put so much time into this and so much money into this and like so much of yourself into this, like you better go out there and you better do a good job. Like you better be faster than you were last week. You better place in a division. You better, win the average. You better not, come home because you better not make a bad run and drive home disappointed. I mean, that's the big one that I put on myself a lot now that I'm realizing it. I know what it feels like to make the disappointed drive home, and like I think about that a lot. It's like I don't want to come here and be at this race for all these days and put this effort into it and put this money into it and make the disappointed drive home because we didn't execute well. But again, that's an expectation. Like, so what I talked through with this coach is you have to take the expectations out of it, because the problem is with the if you have the expectations and you don't meet them, then guess what? You are going to be disappointed, and the drive home is going to suck, and your confidence is going to be shot, and you're going to beat yourself up. Like, what are you doing? Like, you're a failure. All the negative things. But if there are no expectations, none of that can happen. So instead, what you should focus on is, number one, only the things you can control. Like, there's so many variables at these races that are not within your control. And so those should not be a part of the equation because you have no control over them. So you should only be focused on the things you can control in that split second moment of your run. And the only thing in this specific example for barrel racing, the only thing I can control in that run is the way I ride my horse. That is it. That's all I can control. So instead of all these big expectations about everything else, about how we do what we do, that I have no control over half of the stuff anyway, like, instead of all that, bring it down to objectives. Like, set goals and objectives for the only thing I can control, which is the way I ride. So, like, my goal is, like, for an example, my goal is hand placement around the barrel. Like, that's it. Just focus on placing my hands where they need to be around the barrel. And that's it. And that's all that needs to be thought about. And when you think about it like that, and I've already been practicing this in my mind, obviously, because you have to exercise this just like you do any other mental exercise, just like you work out your muscles and the other parts of your body. You have to practice this stuff. So I've already been practicing it, and it is really amazing how quickly it calms all the anxiety and all the stress and all the thoughts of, oh my God, what happened in the past? Oh my goodness, like, what could happen in the future? Like, what could go wrong? Like, all this, that, and the other, because the only thing that matters is focusing on my objective, my goal of putting my hands where they need to be when we get to the barrel. And you know what? If I'm not perfect, which we usually aren't perfect, then okay, it's a goal. Like, it's a moving target, right? Like, your goals are meant to be set. And, like, sometimes we get there faster than we want to get there, but, like, we're striving towards that goal. We're striving to hit that goal perfectly. But the goalpost, like, if you don't hit it perfectly, like, it's like, okay, that's okay. Like, that was my goal. I fell a little short today, but guess what? Like, tomorrow I'll aim to do it better. Like, there is no all the confidence shattering and negative talk and all the worries and all the disappointing and frustration and everything that comes with failing to meet big expectations. Like, you don't have any of that. Like, instead what you have is, okay, my goal was perfect hand placement and I was a little short of that today, but you know what, I'll try to do better tomorrow. So I know not everybody listening rides horses. I know not everybody on here competes as an athlete. Like, again, this podcast is about life in general, but these examples, I think, are just so applicable to other areas and avenues in our life. So I'm hoping this little talk, somehow, some way, you can kind of think about it, think it over, think about how it might apply to your life, see if it would help you, and stay tuned. I'll let you know what else is going on, and please tune back in soon, and hope everyone has a great rest of your day. Bye.